All right, we're doing 2.4 today, ladies and gentlemen, multiplying real numbers. Please stop. Multiplying any real numbers. Okay, so remember we use product as multiplication. The product of two real numbers with a sign is positive. So if you've got two positive numbers, positive times a positive gives you a positive. But a negative times a negative also gives you a positive. So if the signs are the same, it gives you a positive. If the signs are different, a positive times a negative, you get a negative. If you have a negative times a positive, you also get a negative. Okay. Commutative property, the order in which you multiply two numbers does not change. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2, correct? Associative property, the way you group three numbers in a product does not change. 2 times 3 times 4 is the same as 3 times 4 times 2. Okay? So we know that 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. We know 2 times 3 times 4 is the same as 2 times 3 times 4. Okay? Identity property, anything times 1 is itself. 3 times 1 is 3. Property of 0, anything times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 gives us 0. You might want to write these examples down because there will be questions on it on your homework, I believe. The product of negative 1, anything times negative 1 is the opposite. So if you have 4 times negative 1, you get negative 4. It's opposite. Multiplicative identity, the product of a number A and 1 is A. So it's just like the identity property. All right, let's move on. We're going to move. We're going to have a problem here, apparently. All right, so we're going to find the product of all of these things. First of all, we've got negative 3 times a positive 6. What's a negative times a positive? Negative. And then 3 times 6 is 18. Remember, if the signs are different, it's negative. If the signs are the same, it's positive. 2 times negative 5 gives us negative 10. Then we're going to times that by a negative 4, and a negative times negative gives us a positive 40. Okay. Negative 1/2 times negative 4 gives us a positive 2. Times negative 3 gives us a negative 6. Okay. Now we're going to identify the properties of these. We've got parentheses, x times 7 times 0.5, and x times 7 times 0.5. If you see parentheses, it's probably associative. That should be your clue. Which property a times 0 equals 0? So if you're looking at the front, which property is a times 0 equals 0? Look at the front. Is it commutative, associative, identity, property of 0, property of negative 1? Property of 0. What's the problem, Mark? Okay. What? You need to move closer? Feel free. Pull up a chair to one of these tables over here. All right. Negative 6 times y is the same as y times negative 6. Which property is that? Negative 6. Yes. Commutative. Thank you. Commutative. You guys, flip your paper over and look at the front. It gives you should have written down examples. 9 times negative 1 equals negative 9. 9 times negative 1. Which property is that? Property of negative 1. One times v equals v. It could be two different ones. 1 times the number is the number.
Identity property.
Identity property or multiplicative identity property. Okay? Let's look at example 3. Just scrolling it up a little bit, you should still be able to see. Find the product of negative 4x times 0.25. Okay, so what are we going to do? We've got that x in there, but that shouldn't bother us too much. Multiplying by 0.25 is the same thing as dividing by 4. So we know we've got 1. So we got negative 1x. And what we used is the associative property, because it didn't matter what order we multiplied. Okay. All right, let's look at a story problem and then we're finished. In 1900, the elevation of Mono Lake in California was 6,416 feet. From 1900 to 1950, the average rate and change in elevation was about negative 0.12 foot per year. From 1950 to 2000, the average rate of change was about 0.526 feet per year. The elevation, find the approximate elevation in the year 2000. Okay, so we started out at 6,416. And then we know that the average rate of change was negative 0.12. So we know each year, it went down by 0.12. Okay, how many years between 1900 and 1950? 50. So this is when we get out the calculator. And we know, you know what, I don't want to do it this way. Change my mind. We're going to do it like this. First, we're going to find how much change we made in 50 years. So negative 0.12 times 50 gives us negative 6 feet. So we're going to take away 6 feet. So in 1950, it was 6,410. What was the average rate of change between 1950 and 2000? Negative 0.52, 6, and that was another 50 years. So I'm going to go negative 0.526 times 50, and I know I'm going to now subtract 26.3.
Where you get that from?
I multiplied those two together.
Oh.
And I get 6,383.7 feet in 2000. So I took the number of feet it decreases times the year, because that was approximately how much it did per year. And then I subtracted that from the total feet.